Hi, it's Non-Gone, and today we're playing Death Stranding on the PS4. This is a speed platinum run. We're going to try and get the trophies as quickly as possible, first to last. I do this for two reasons. One is if you want to improve on my times and use these strategies, I encourage you to. It feels good to be number one at something, even if it's a little thing like this. Number two, if you want an easier path to platinum, you don't care about time, hopefully this will give you a good roadmap. I'm going to put the current leaderboard up, and as the astute viewers among you will notice immediately, I'm already at the top. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I did this run a few years ago. I didn't like my time for a number of reasons, and it's always been bugging me, and so I finally decided to take one of my alts, just the Plat, and see how much I could improve on that time. I feel like I can get it under 24 hours. The game has so many different ways to approach a task or a problem, and it's such a beautiful, complex list, and it really is a scheduler's dream, and I feel like I didn't do it justice by just sort of slapping together a route and hoping for the best. So always been wanting to rectify that. And then about a year ago, last July, Mimi and I went to Iceland ourselves and got to immerse ourselves in the environment in which the game was inspired. And I wanted nothing else when I got home but to turn Death Stranding on again and play it and play it and play it. And after like 300 hours in 5 months, I finally decided to just go ahead and do this run and get it out of my system. So that's what we're doing. Couple of quick disclaimers. First of all, this is a grueling calendar-based thing. I'm going to be up for at least 24 hours playing this game. I'm apparently a trained professional nowadays at this, so do not try this at home. This could be hazardous to your health. Number two, I can't do a video like this without spoilers for story, characters, battle, all that stuff. So if you want to play it on your own, please do. There will be spoilers ahead. So the backbone of any speed platinum run is, of course, going to be your route. What are you building? How are you going to do it? What are your split times? You know, all that kind of stuff. Is it quicker to do it this way or is it quicker to do it that way? And so this intro video is kind of a sneak peek into the creation process of that route. We're going to break down all the trophies, and I'm going to kind of put them into my plan, what my roadmap's going to be for getting this thing done. So we got 63 trophies total. Here's a counter, so we make sure we cover them all. The first one is a platinum, so that doesn't really count. So that's one done. I identified 5 trophies, these 5 right here, as what I call the big 5. 95% of the actions you do in this game are going to be in service or trying to get to one of these 5 trophies. So this works best in 2 stages. First, get through the story and get to the credits. Pick up as many memory chips as you can for Thanks for Everything and Fount of Knowledge. And then post-game, you'll have a bunch more equipment and a bunch more locations available. You can work on Best Beloved, Growth of a Legend, and Great Deliverer. In addition, there are 4 trophies that I found, which I'll call the medium 4. So we get the big 5 and the medium 4. These are not difficult. They only take probably an hour total to do, but you will not be able to complete them until after all those big 5 are completed. So you might as well just ignore them and then work on them at the end. If you get the big 5 and the medium 4, you will also get these 35 trophies by nature along the way. There's no way to miss them. So we're going to take those right off the list and not talk about them. You can pause if you want to see the full list. Thanks for Everything is for completing the story missions. They're mostly going to be orders for Sam. You also want to do your best to get good scores on them. So get good grades. We'll add that to the list here. And you want to do that as quickly as you can, and mostly don't get distracted doing other stuff while you're doing it. The one thing you do want to get distracted are memory chips, and that is the Font of Knowledge trophy. There are 56 of them. Most of the 56 are available and laying around on the map at all times. One of them, number 56, you have to do the third, I think, pizza delivery for Pizza Pete, Peter Englert. He will eventually open the door to his apartment. You can go down and get it. Then there's a handful of them. I think this is the list that will not show up until you get an email with yellow text that says like a glinting thing or shining object from somebody. And I think this is the people that send that email for the specific one. In my route, a lot of these didn't matter. The first time I went to that region, I had already gotten the email, but I figured I'd put the list up. If you're missing one and it's on this list, maybe that helps you. Of course, the big one is above the first prepper. You have to 5-star him, then he'll give you this email, and you can go up and get it. He's really hard to 5-star, so I definitely remember that one. That's always the last memory chip I get. So we're going to mark those 2 off the checklist and move on to stage 2. Let's start with Best Beloved. This is for getting all facilities to max affinity rank. What this means is there are 36 preppers or distribution centers or whatever that have to be leveled up to 5 stars, and you'll get that by making deliveries and getting likes from them. Now, 26 of the 36, this would be the list right here. I'm just going to call regular preppers. You do deliveries for them, you'll get more stars. Some of them do have requirements before they'll trust you, but they're part of the story. So if you got to the credits already, you'll be past that. Not everyone will just join your cult because you show up and ask. They kind of got to think about it a little bit. And the way they do that is through what I like to call a star cap. Basically, when you meet them the first time and make a delivery, you'll get all the likes that you earn, but the star will only fill to just before the end. It'll stop. The idea is that you leave for a while, let them think about it. They get a little more trust without the pressure of you bugging them. In gameplay terms, it means go to a private room, take a nap, and wait for an email. A couple of quick notes. You only get 2 emails per nap. So if you're missing one, they might be queued up behind a big line if you haven't rested in a while. Just take a bunch of naps until you get no more emails. Hopefully the one you were looking for will be there. Also, I'm pretty sure you do not lose the likes from the star cap. Anything that was over that will be added to your next delivery. So that was nice of them. So let's talk about the 10 tough preppers. Pizza Pete, Peter Englert, is probably the weirdest one. He's star capped at every level. He has 5 pizza deliveries. Just do all 5. They are hard to do, but they're easy to understand. So you complete his 5, you will get 5-star for him. Elder in the central region was kind of the "we don't trust you yet" tutorial. He has a story related cap, so you gotta wait for that email. But then a delivery standard order will show up from Lake Knot that has 20 little packets of drugs. That's his magic bean. You deliver those to him and wait for an email, and you will get past your next star cap, and he'll join the UCA. Luden's Fan in the East region, just north of the Distro Center. Veteran Porter, just west of the Timefall Farm. And Novelist Son, just north of the Photographer. They all have to be started by Lost Cargo. They're all right near their facility. Luden's Fan's easy. Once you give it to him, he's good to go, and there's lots of deliveries. With the Novelist Son and the Veteran Porter, your first Lost Cargo will put a star cap at 1, so wait for your email before moving on. Neither one of them have great deliveries, and so there is an exploit with the Lost Cargo that you can use for these two. Basically, if you stand here, save your game, go to the title screen, and then reload your game, the Lost Cargo will respawn and you can redeliver it for another 50 likes. For Novelist Son, there are some deliveries from the Distro Center that will help, but Veteran Porter, you pretty much have to save and reload. It's by far the most efficient way. Just save and reload, save and reload. He's only requires like 1,000 likes, so 20 reloads and you're done. It's like 10 or 15 minutes to 5-star him. So there you go. Film director, cosplayer, and collector are all kind of similar. They all start with missions from somewhere else, either South Knot or the Distro Center. Once you give them those, then Lost Cargo will pop up for them, and they'll have missions as well. So there you go. That's those 3. And then the musician and the first prepper are the last 2. The way you start them is by going to their terminal. Musician's over here, just south of the distro in the East region, and first prepper's way up on the mountain past the spiritualist. Good luck even finding that place. They will give you a fetch quest, 1 apiece, and once you complete that, they'll cap at 1 star or whatever, and you can get deliveries for them or you can get Lost Cargo for them. First prepper is very difficult. He has 2 emails that's required before he moves on the first star. The second one is, I think it's how prepping got started. And then the third one, which will get him finally done, is about joining the UCA. So you have to do 2 separate deliveries for him before you even get past the first star. Really sucks. But that pretty much covers the first prepper and all the other hard preppers. You get them all to 5 stars, and Best Beloved will be yours. So most of the likes from this are going to come from standard orders after the story is done. We haven't really talked about what those are. There's more than 500 of them. They're kind of like the side missions. They fall into one of 4 categories. The icons here: volume, condition, speed, and miscellaneous. There are normal and premium versions of each one. Once you complete them, they have a 5-hour of gameplay cooldown before they will respawn. Growth of a Legend requires that you get a rank of Legend of Legends on 80 of these standard orders, and there has to be 20 of each from each of the 4 categories. To get that rank, you have to play on hard difficulty, pick the premium version of the order, and get an S rank when you finish, which is a lot. You can change the difficulty at any time in the game, but not in the middle of the order. So you can't just run it over on very easy and then switch. I tried. It doesn't work. Anything else. So what I suggest you do is, as soon as you get to the credits, we'll add this to the chart, switch from very easy to hard difficulty, keep it there till you get this trophy, Growth of a Legend, and then switch back until the end. The other trick is that the 4 categories are not evenly distributed amongst the orders. There's plenty of volume and conditions, so you don't have to worry, but timed and miscellaneous are in short supply, and some of them are a lot harder than others. So the way I found to deal with it was to specifically list 22 or 23 of each and put them in my route notes, save right before you start them, and don't move on until you've S-ranked them. It is quicker to replay that mission than it is to go find another one. That leaves us with the next one, which is the Great Deliverer. In addition to your likes counting counting for each facility and each category, you also have a porter rank, which is a combination on this 5-point star. Your orders for Sam count for this as well as standard orders. So that's why it's really important that you pay attention to your story deliveries as well. The first 4 points of the 5-point star are the categories of the standard orders. So it makes sense. Unfortunately, the timed category seems to be the one that's always falling short. And so you really want to pay attention to this when you're routing it. The big one is to take advantage of the cooldown. So there is a really big time delivery from film director to lake knot. Gives you like 2,000 likes and takes 3 minutes or so with the truck. I immediately routed this as soon as it was available so that the cooldown would happen and I'd get a chance to do it again. I think I ended up doing it 3 times. So use the cooldowns for the important ones and work that into your route and help you to get there at the end. And that leaves the 5th point, which is the bridge links. This is the online portion of the game. So other user structures show up in your world. Your structures will show up in others. If they use your structure, you get likes, and the likes will be green instead of blue, so you know that's working. You can deliver lost cargo, do supply requests. There's all kinds of interactive things, but the biggest way is by building roads. A few mechanics about this. First, you can build a road, partially build a road, or finish a road. If someone uses it, you'll get whatever % of your contribution. Second, if you get bored and stop doing it, the game will also get bored and stop putting it in people's worlds. And so your green likes will dry up. So you'll want to put some stuff in papers relatively consistently through the playthrough, even if it's not a lot. Third, roads require metal and ceramics, which are heavy, and chiral crystals, which literally weigh nothing. So my strategy is to carry as much crystals with me at all times. Anytime I come across the paver, I either throw a couple hundred or whatever it takes to finish it. If I get to a paver that's next to a distro center, I'll run in and grab metal and ceramics from there and take a quick trip out to throw them into that paver. This strategy, my bridge link was about level 30 within an hour and level 60 well within the time I needed for the run. So your mileage may vary because it's online and random, but I never had a problem. And so that's it for the big 5. You get all 5 of those, you're going to be mostly done here. One thing I didn't talk about is how to actually get from point A to point B. I did almost exclusively zip lines on my first run, and I don't think that was the smartest choice. You can't do bigger ones, and it's not really bad to drive trucks around. They carry a lot. As long as you know your path. So my plan is to make a zipline network for all 10 mountain locations as soon as I can and get up in the mountains during the story. We'll add that to the chart. After chapter 14, I'll make a zipline as I go in the east region that connects everybody except Port Knot, and otherwise just going to take trucks, learn about 5 paths that are safe, and go from there. So that covers the 5. Let's go into the medium 4, which you're going to do after you get these 5. So it'll be like the last hour while you're cleaning up. The first one's going to be Homo Faber. There are 72 unique items in the game. You'll need to find the blueprints or schematics for them. If you do the big 5, you will have a minimum of 65 of those 72 finished. The ones that are missing are as follows. Sticky Gun is for completing Order for Sam number 36. It starts in East Distro and ends in Lake Knot. We're going to do that after the credits in stage 2. Number 2 is the Ride Trike, and that's from picking up Memory Chip 31. So again, if you have Font of Knowledge, you have this already. And number 3 are trucks, and I count those as 5 because there's 5 versions. You cannot use trucks until you complete Order for Sam number 35 at the junk dealer, which goes to the East Distro Center. You want to do this as soon as possible, so we're going to add that to stage 1. So once you get all 72, go somewhere with a lot of resources like Mountain Knot and just start building anything that doesn't have a check mark right here in the display. That means you already did it. You do 12 at a time or 1 vehicle, immediately recycle it, get some of your stuff back. If you have the blueprints and enough resources, you can do all 72 of these in like 10 minutes. So that takes care of Homer Faber. Master Builder is for building all 10 buildable structures. Trailblazer is for upgrading the 7 upgradable structures. The ladder and the anchor are easy. You just get them out of a terminal somewhere and set them down. You probably already did this. To make signs, you don't even need resources. Just go and hit L2 and triangle. The other 7 come from PCCs. A level 2 PCC can build any of the 7, which is Watchtower, Postbox, Timefall Shelter, Zipline, Bridge, Safe House, and Generator, not in any particular order. 5 of those are built as soon as you set them down. The bridge requires 800 metal. The safe house requires 300 crystals and 2,400 special alloys. So you can't just put the base down. You have to put those resources in for them to count for this trophy. But that's pretty much it. Once you do all those, Master Builders right there. Upgrading is a bit of a different animal. Structures go from level 1 to 3 by contributing materials. The upgrades don't have to be your own structures. If you find a safe house that's already at level 2 and just needs like 1,000 crystals, go finish it. It'll save you time and it will count. It's not that big of a deal though, because by the time you get to the end game, most of the facilities have enough resources to do this. So what I do is just go to South Knot, load up 7 PCCs, all the special alloys they got, and as much metal as my truck will carry. I drive that over to Mama's and start building and upgrading structures one by one. When I run out of resources, I can get them from her smaller stash over there. It is usually enough to get all 7, but if not, there's plenty in all the other distros. So that's it. The last one of the medium 4 is Childminder, and that's for maximizing your likes with BB. She's got a 5-star like bar just like any of the facilities. She will give you likes when you almost fall down, when you go fast in any way, when you finish some of the story missions. So it's not bad. I never had a problem with this trophy until this run. I think the max is about 450 or 500, and when I finished everything else, I was in like the mid 300s. The best way I find to ground them at the end is to go into a private room and make faces in the mirror. It is diminishing returns, but you get like 100 pretty quick. I think she likes zip lines too, though, because it counts as going fast. And in my other run, with me over relying on zip lines so much, I think that's why I never even knew this was an issue. So those 10 hours of zip lines paid off in like 100 likes. So, but that's it. That's everything I can offer for that. And that is the 9 trophies that are the big ones to work on. So we're doing great. And so that just leaves 18 miscellaneous trophies. And these you can just kind of work in at any time. Some of them you can do from the menu in your private room, read 100 emails, play something on the music player, issue a supply request. Some of them you can do from any terminal, change your boots for the first time, complete any standard order with a delivery bot. That's in the bot deliverable section once you get that as part of the story. Donate cargo at the share locker here. There's stuff you could do anytime out in the open world. There's one for peeing the first time. That's a funny trophy, probably my favorite one. Send a shout out and have it returned just by hitting the touchpad. Give someone a like on any of their sign or structure. Stop and sleep to heal, and you'll do that. You can soothe your BB from that menu. If she's crying, she will have to be crying. She will have to stop crying while you're soothing. You can do a lot of stuff at specific spots in the open world. Building your first road, which we talked about. There's actually a mission in order for Sam at Lake Knot that will give you all the materials, take a few minutes, so definitely do that one. Throw some stuff in the lake. There's a pile by Junk Dealer, and the lake's just south, the tar pit. Bathe in a hot spring. There's a few hot springs. One's on Hartman's roof. Just stop and take a bath there. Helping porters through a territory is really just clearing out a mule camp. Just knock out everybody until there's no more left, and you get that trophy. Cutting a BT's cord. Mama will give you this little thing on your look like handcuffs that you can cut their cord. Just sneak up to one and do that. And then trading with a porter, which is a little bit trickier. If you see one of these non-aggressive gray guys, make sure you have a piece of cargo that you don't mind giving up, so not anything for a mission. And then walk up and just start tapping the touchpad to give him likes. Set your cargo down. He will give you a thumbs up, hopefully, and hand you his cargo. Take that. He'll pick up your cargo, and you get that trophy. So that's all the miscellaneous we went through in just a couple of minutes, and that will be all 62. And if you put that into a good route, you'll be finished and ready to roll with your real run. And so that's pretty much the route. I'm going to add a couple of little things here. We go through the story. I noticed Wind Farm, I had trouble getting likes, so I added a little gambit there to do his side missions first in the story, and then that way the cooldown's there and I could do them again a second time. First prepper takes a long time, so that's the very first thing I do when I get to the central region post-game. So I just go and activate his fetch quest, and then while I'm in the neighborhood of that mule camp later, I go ahead and get it, instead of wasting half an hour going down there and back right away. And that is pretty much it. My practice times were 9 hours and 43 minutes to the end of Chapter 14, 20 hours and 42 minutes to the end of the Big 5, and then another hour and 13 for cleaning up and building, for a total of 21:55. That still gives me a couple hours to make mistakes and still get under 24, so I'm actually good with this. You could probably optimize this route even better and beat my time, but I'm happy with this one, and I think I'm going to go ahead, get a good night's sleep, get some energy drinks, and a big bowl of sauerkraut, because it's good for you, and I'll get back and make this run. Wish me luck, and I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, stay bad, people. Non-gone is gone.